A ship sails towards land with a young Willy Wonka perched atop a mast, singing a merry tune. Upon reaching the dock, Willy continues his song but gives away all but one of his silver coins, accidentally dropping the last one down a drain. Undeterred, Willy proceeds to inspect a store he hopes to purchase. Later that evening, Willy unpacks his belongings and plans to spend the night on a park bench until a friendly dog named Tiddles approaches him. A kind-hearted man invites Willy to spend the night in his sanctuary. Inside the sanctuary run by Screwbit and Bleachers, Willy seeks warmth by the fireplace. Mrs. Screwbit presents Willy with a contract to sign, while a girl named Noodle advises him to read it carefully. However, Willy hastily signs the contract without proper consideration, much to Noodle's dismay. Mrs. Screwbit reprimands Noodle and punishes her by confining her to a coop. The following day, Willy returns to the gourmet store and enthusiastically announces his new invention, flying chocolates. 3 chocolatiers overhear him and report him to the police before tasting the chocolates themselves. Their negative reaction causes them to float in the air, attracting the attention of the authorities. Willy asks the chief of police for financial assistance, receiving only a single silver coin. Unfortunately, Willy soon learns that this coin is insufficient to cover his debt, as he failed to read the contract carefully. Mrs. Screwbit informs him that he must work off the remainder of his debt. Descending through a laundry chute, Willy encounters other individuals who have similarly fallen victim to Mrs. Screwbit's schemes. That night, Noodle visits Willy in his room and confesses that she has never tasted chocolate before. Touched by her innocence, Willy decides to treat her to a chocolate creation using his chocolate-making machine. As they indulge in the sweet treat, Willy shares the story of his childhood, recalling fond memories of his mother's delicious chocolates. He reveals their dream of taking over the gourmet store, but sadly, his mother passed away before revealing her secret recipe. Noodle savors the chocolate but expresses sadness knowing she won't have more. In a generous gesture, Willy offers her a lifetime supply of chocolate. Grateful, Noodle suggests a plan for their escape. Meanwhile, beneath the cathedral, the chief of police meets with the chocolatiers. Through a persuasive song, they convince him to eliminate the competition and remove Wonka from the equation. In exchange, they offer him a tempting bribe of 1,000 boxes of chocolate, to which he readily agrees. The following morning, Willy and Noodle hatch a plan to foster romance between Screwbit and Bleacher. Meanwhile, Willy descends once again down the chute and unveils an invention designed to automate labor, allowing everyone to escape. With their plan in motion, Willy and Noodle flee into the streets. As they wander, Willy shares a curious tale about a mischievous, little orange man with green hair, who pilfers his chocolates, though Noodle remains skeptical. Determined to continue his chocolate-making endeavors, Willy expresses a peculiar need for giraffe milk. Their quest leads them to the zoo, where they ingeniously incapacitate a guard with a potent chocolate concoction. Inside the zoo, Willy's lack of literacy becomes apparent when he mistakenly opens the tiger enclosure instead of the giraffes. Fortunately, Noodle guides them to the giraffe, where Willy attempts to extract milk. During their escapade, Noodle confides in Willy, revealing that her name is not truly Noodle, rather, it was assigned when she was discovered by Screwbit with an necklace. After their misadventures, Willy seizes hold of balloons and ascends to the roof of the gourmet store with Noodle. There, they celebrate with song and dance, but their jubilation attracts the attention of the police. The chief of police confronts Willy, leading them to sneak back into the workshop, where their fate remains uncertain. One of the trio recounts his history, revealing ties to Slugworth and his own dismissal for meddling. Willy shares his aspirations of chocolate making and ownership with them. That evening, Willy distributes chocolates to his newfound companions, solidifying their alliance. The next day, Willy dazzles the public with a variety of delectable treats, attracting the attention of the police, who tail him on bicycles. Eventually, the chief of police uncovers evidence of Willy's escape route through the drain system. That night, the chief seeks more chocolate from the chocolatiers, who oblige. Meanwhile, in Willy's quarters, the little orange man returns and falls into a trap set by Willy. Awakening him, the man reveals himself as an Oompa Loompa, expressing disappointment in Willy for plundering cocoa beans from Loompaland. He demands restitution before striking Willy with a frying pan and absconding with the chocolate. The following day, Willy's friends present him with the keys to the store and help him open it. Although initially in disrepair, they quickly transform it into a splendid establishment. The grand opening proceeds smoothly until it's discovered that the treats have been tampered with, inciting a riot among the customers who set fire to the store. Abandoned by his companions amidst the wreckage, Willy faces the arrival of the three chocolatiers bearing a briefcase of money. They offer to compensate his friends if Willy agrees to leave town for good, to which he reluctantly acquiesces. That evening, Willy boards a ship at the docks, bidding farewell to Slugworth and departing. Unbeknownst to him, the Oompa Loompa accompanies him, insisting on obtaining the chocolate. Observing an A mark on the Oompa Loompa's hand, Willy realizes Noodle is in grave danger. Rushing to the captain's quarters, they discover dynamite strapped to the wheel. With quick thinking, they leap off the ship just before it explodes. Meanwhile, the chocolatiers stand idly by, amused by the chaos. Slugworth proceeds to deliver the money to Scroobit. The following morning, Mrs. Scroobit and Mr. Bleacher release everyone else with their money, but inform Noodle that her funds were meant to keep her confined. Mrs. Scroobit forcefully throws Noodle back into captivity. Suddenly, Willy emerges and informs Noodle of their plan to liberate her by stealing the ledger. Disguised as a nun, Noodle approaches the father at the cathedral, requesting chocolate, but he refuses. Meanwhile, Willy and a few others abscond to the zoo, steal a giraffe, and release it inside the cathedral, causing a commotion. The father contacts the zoo, unaware it's Willy and his friends on the other end, instructing them to remove the giraffe just before the Baron's funeral. After learning of the incident, Slugworth rushes to the cathedral. Meanwhile, Willy and Noodle navigate beneath the cathedral, searching for the ledger. Finally, Noodle discovers a trap door in the wall and retrieves the book. Unfortunately, Slugworth and his associates apprehend them and toss them into a giant chocolate mixer. Slugworth reveals that the N is actually a Z, belonging to his brother, Zebedee, and discloses to Noodle that he misled her mother about her well-being, leading to her imprisonment. As Slugworth departs with Willy's chocolates for the Oompa Loompa, he leaves Willy and Noodle to drown in a river of chocolate. However, Noodle devises a plan to use the buoyancy of the chocolate to lift them and bang on the glass. Despite their efforts, no one comes to their aid, and they begin to sink. Fortunately, the Oompa Loompa arrives just in time to rescue them, and they escape with the ledger. The chief of police, now oversized, emerges from his car and is informed that he and the chocolatiers are being arrested. As the chocolatiers start floating once more, Willy reveals that the chocolates they consumed were actually the flying ones from earlier. Slugworth warns that they'll return before floating away. Finally, Willy learns his mother's secret. It's the people you share the chocolate with that matter, not just the chocolate itself. He shares a piece with everyone and informs Noodle that her mother resides at the local library. They reconnect, and Willy shows the Oompa Loompa an old castle he plans to convert into a factory, appointing the Oompa Loompa as chief chocolate taster. During the credits, the Oompa Loompa narrates what happened to everyone, including Scroobit and Bleacher, who were arrested but tried to evade punishment by consuming the poisoned chocolates. The two share a final kiss as the story concludes.